welcome back. I'm Largo and today we're checking out another SCP video. This is SCP-2662 Cthulhu. This was a commenter suggestion, so thank you very much for that. Cthulhu, man. I guess it's Cthulhu, the unknowable monstrous entity. Maybe how he destroys the world, or maybe how they keep him in containment. Although I was not sure you could keep Cthulhu in containment, but let's go ahead and find out what is up with Cthulhu.
I would like to request reassignment from SCP-2662's containment team. I've seen a lot of things during my career, but there are only so many castrated pigs and blood orgies I can witness before my stomach begins to turn. In addition, I'm hearing voices. It compels me to join them. I believe I may be suffering 2662's
okay.
effects.
Castrated pigs and blood orgies. Alright.
Description: SCP-2662 is a cognitohazardous entity approximately 4 meters in height and 200 kilograms in weight. SCP-2662 appears to be in a vaguely humanoid shape, with approximately 20 additional muscular hydrostats in similar structure to cephalopoid limbs attached to its back. These limbs are fully functional and allow SCP-2662 to perform up to 10 different tasks at once.
Wow, okay.
SCP-2662's primary anomalous effect only occurs after long-term repeated exposure, usually by being in the same room as or interacting daily with SCP-2662. Subjects exposed to SCP-2662 for a period of 6 months or longer are at risk of becoming acutely aware of SCP-2662's wants or needs and are compelled to fulfill them. They may also suffer from quasi-psychotic episodes when under stress. SCP-2662 is unable to affect humans that have a 2 or higher MARS score, Mind Affecting Resistance Scale. SCP-2662's secondary anomalous effect is the spontaneous generation of religious followings at an approximate rate of at least once a month. This generation is involuntary and causes SCP-2662 notable distress. Religious groups generated by SCP-2662 usually focus on attempting to break into its containment unit in order to perform various rituals that are violent and/or sexual in nature.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. Its secondary anomalous effect is spontaneous generation of religious followings. I suppose that kind of fits in line with the Cthulhu mythos, where he's kind of just is able to influence people like this. It is a little bit different in the fact that it says that it causes him notable distress, meaning that he doesn't like this. Okay.
These groups tend to be highly organized and appear to adapt to each failed attempt, despite there being generally no contact between different generated religious followings. Special Containment Procedures. Containment of SCP-2662 is primarily focused on preventing unauthorized entry into its containment unit. For this purpose, on-site Task Force Tower 9, belligerent bodyguards, has been organized to guard SCP-2662's containment unit and keep track of new religious followings focusing on the worship of SCP-2662. Task Force Tower 9 is to use non-lethal methods when dealing with an attempt of unauthorized entry, authorized to use lethal force if necessary. All members of Task Force Tower 9 are to be tested biannually for cognitohazardous influence.
Okay.
As containment of SCP-2662 is completely voluntary, it is currently contained in an enlarged humanoid containment unit with standard safety measures for low-risk humanoids as detailed in Document 0998 Kilo Alpha. Additionally, SCP-2662 is allowed 1 copy of a daily newspaper of its choice, a computer, and requested computer games totaling no more than $50 every month. SCP-2662 can only affect approximately 5% of the human population and 2% of Foundation personnel. It is therefore considered a low-risk cognitohazard.
Okay, so we're seeing some very different things than what I thought I was going to see when pertaining to an entry called Cthulhu. So let's start with the fact that his containment is voluntary. It seems like he wants to be in here, and judging from this artwork, he's just kind of hanging out, playing video games and whatnot. Another thing I noticed here with this is this might be an older entry, seeing how that they're giving him an allowance essentially for $50 every month for video games, even though standard tag for a video game now is $60. So he would have to wait 2 months in order to buy one video game, unless of course this is an older entry back when video games were $50. And probably the strangest thing I've noticed so far out of all of this is he's playing Mario, which is a Nintendo property, yet the console looks like a PlayStation, but the controller is clearly an Xbox design. So, frankly, this might be the most anomalous thing of the whole entry, the fact that he's able to use an Xbox controller to play on PlayStation while playing a Nintendo title.
Oh, okay. I don't even have time to tell you how wrong you are. Actually, it's going to bug me if I don't.
That is crazy.
Incident 2662-7. On 2003, a religious group known as Towards Him successfully broke into SCP-2662's containment. SCP-2662 is seen taking a shower in preparation for sleep. There is a loud noise as previously undiscovered explosives are detonated underneath the center of SCP-2662's containment unit. 5 injured civilians climb out of the hole left by the detonation. SCP-2662 leaves the shower to investigate the noise. Agent notified Task Force Tower 9 of a breach into containment. They attempt to suppress the initial 5 civilians unsuccessfully, as 5 more arrive with weapons. After a brief struggle, agents are pinned down and tied with rope by the civilians. The injured civilians approach SCP-2662. The uninjured civilians stab their hands with knives, masturbate, and then draw unknown symbols on the wall with a mixture of sexual fluids and blood.
Oh man, come on. That's really not sanitary or necessary.
SCP-2662 appears to gag upon witnessing the symbols. The injured civilians successfully corner SCP-2662 in the shower stall. The injured civilians are seen squeezing blood out of their wounds and rubbing it onto SCP-2662 while singing.
Jesus Christ, stop, please! I just took a shower!
Task Force Tower 9 arrived to SCP-2662's containment unit. Task Force Tower 9 managed to suppress all civilians successfully and proceed to move SCP-2662 to a temporary unit until repairs can be completed. Incident 2662-13. In 2005, a religious group known as the Betrothed successfully broke into SCP-2662's containment. SCP-2662 is seen eating breakfast and reading a newspaper. Security officers stationed at SCP-2662's containment unit enter with a researcher. The researcher can be seen carrying a piglet.
Can I help you?
Oh, our lord, please accept this innocent suckling swine, freshly orphaned from slaughter of both mother and father. May its soul of loss fuel you.
Researcher proceeds to castrate the piglet in front of SCP-2662 and place the testes on SCP-2662's food.
No thanks. I'm full. Go home. Your, lord is pleased with the offering.
Task Force Tower 9 is notified of a breach into containment. SCP-2662 attempts to read its newspaper. Researcher slits the piglet's neck and throws it onto the table. Blood splatters the newspaper.
What? Look, can you go read a Bible or something? You really, really need it.
SCP-2662 puts the newspaper down. The accompanying security officers execute researcher via gunshot to the head. They then begin consuming her. SCP-2662 leaves the scene to vomit in a toilet.
Wow, okay, this is way different than what I thought it was going to be. I thought that when this was an entry on Cthulhu, that it would have been some eldritch horror stuff. And I mean, it kind of is, but it's playing out in a way different fashion than I thought it would. I mean, dude, Cthulhu is just a guy that wants to be left alone, man. He just wants to enjoy himself and have his own privacy and eat breakfast and take a shower and play video games. He acts like a normal person that just wants to be left alone, and yet his anomalous qualities generate spontaneous religious movements of just psychopathic people that are doing all kinds of ridiculous stuff. And he wants no part of it. None. This is way different than I thought it was going to be.
Task Force Tower 9 arrived to move SCP-2662 to a temporary containment unit and detain the guards. After further investigation, all involved personnel were civilians posing as personnel. It is unknown as to the whereabouts of the actual researchers and security officers. Incident 2662-78. On 2014, an unnamed religious group consisting of D-Class personnel and 2 members of Task Force Tower 9 successfully broke into SCP-2662's containment. SCP-2662 was redesignated as Keter upon further review of Incident 2662-78. SCP-2662 can be seen sleeping in its bed. The entirety of Task Force Tower 9 is called for an off-site mission. Against orders, Task Force Tower 9 chooses to leave 4 of its members behind to keep watch on SCP-2662. 2 of the remaining members tackle and lock the other 2 in an unused containment unit. A cargo truck arrives on site where SCP-2662 is being held. The 2 remaining members unload the cargo of D-Class personnel. They lead the D-Class personnel to Task Force Tower 9's armory. The D-Class and the remaining members arm themselves from the armory and break into SCP-2662's containment unit. SCP-2662 is roused. Several D-Class personnel guard the exit to the containment unit, as well as the corresponding hallway.
Huh? What? Are we moving? I'm not scheduled until next week.
Agents, the 2 remaining available members of Task Force Tower 9, begin undressing the D-Class personnel that are not guarding. SCP-2662 attempts to alert Task Force Tower 9 to no response. Agents begin carving symbols into the buttocks and thighs of the undressed D-Class personnel. The D-Class personnel begin to engage in group sex after being carved.
What the fuck? Seriously? Now? Look, seriously, can you go find another god? I hear Buddhism is all the rage.
D-Class 99304 attempts to pull SCP-2662 into the group.
The fuck? Stop! Seriously! Lord commands you and all that stuff to cut this shit out!
All D-Class personnel currently engaged in sex cease their movements. They all turn to stare at SCP-2662. Task Force Tower 9 arrive at the off-site meeting point, only to be told no such mission exists. Task Force Tower 9 begin moving back to site.
Oh, thank God. I can control you guys now. Kinda. Maturity's happening right on time. Good to know. Okay, tell me what the fuck is going on here.
After the blood-birthing ritual, we're going to take you to your sacred chambers, where we, our families, and our lineage will remain in service to you for all eternity. The people here cage you. With us, you may go where you please.
You must be kidding me. I can leave here whenever I want. I just have to ask. Besides, The
D-Class personnel begin to continue engaging in group sex.
Seriously, stop. You're all fucking disgusting. I'm not even ready to settle down with a cult yet. I'm only like 200 years old. I'm barely legal.
Do you really think the Foundation will let you go if you ask? Well, you can certainly ask. You'll be sorely disappointed, my lord.
Yeah, well, if that turns out to be the case, I can just wait until I'm strong enough to break out. In the meantime, I'm going to sit in the bathroom and wait.
This is wild. I love the fact that he's just completely not on board with this. Just not on board with it. He claims to be a young Cthulhu, only like 200 years old, which kind of implies that he's not the only one of his kind, that there have been previous versions of him, that he's not quite mature yet, and he can't really control the people that he's influencing. I also love the fact that his containment cell is completely sized to him. So he has like oversized dressers and beds and tables and plates and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, the fact that he just hates this and he's just like not on board and just wants to be left alone. Boy, this is such a different take on Cthulhu.
The rest of you can do your stupid blood orgy.
SCP-2662 moves to the shower stall and turns on the water. It sits in the shower stall for the remainder of the incident.
That was SCP-2662 Cthulhu, and wow, boy, you want to talk about a subversion of expectations? I did not see any of that coming. I mean, yeah, I kind of expected to see some kind of religious movement and sacrifice and stuff like that, but man, it's not the way it played out. Like, wow. I absolutely love the fact that this version of Cthulhu is basically just a dude that wants to be left alone. And he's like, listen, whether or not I am some kind of eldritch beast, that remains to be seen. When I grow up and become more powerful, yeah, you know what? Maybe I'm gonna enjoy having a cult and followers and stuff like that. But for now, just leave me alone. Get out of here with your sacrifices and your orgies and all your ridiculous behavior. Dude, I just want to read a paper and play some video games and eat some food. Leave me alone. Get out of my containment cell. Just a really different version of Cthulhu, and I really like it. It's something completely different than I was expecting. Still kind of followed the same lines and leads you to believe that, you know, maybe one day he will be that Cthulhu from Lovecraftian horror that is capable of playing with the minds of entire civilizations and things like that. So it still leaves it very much open to interpretation for the future on what he will become. But as for now, this particular version of Cthulhu, just leave the guy alone. Just let him eat his breakfast and in peace. You know, for all we know, maybe the whole reason he does later on become a true monster is because he's just sick of all our crap. He can never get a moment's peace. Poor Cthulhu. Anyways, guys, this was a comment or suggestion, so thank you very much for that. Again, you guys are killing it with the suggestions. Really liked this version of Cthulhu, and I hope you guys did too. I hope you guys liked the reaction. If you did, go ahead and click that like button. As always, guys, consider hitting that subscribe button to help the channel out. It really does a lot. And as always, leave a comment down below. What other SCP should I check out in the future? Are there any more that will subvert my expectations, much like this one did? Are there any more 001s you want me to check out? Go ahead and leave those down in the comments and we will get to those. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching the video. Take care of yourselves and have a great day.